I just want to pursue the things that you mentioned: rental, restaurants, and shopping. From what I have picked up in the news over the past year or two, okay, it has been said time and again, even in the news reports in TV on TV, that many of these POGO employees, operators, they don't really go out to all the restaurants that Filipinos go out to. Even in places like Boracay, in Pasay, they have their own locations, their own localities. In fact, near the Manila Bay area, there is a block there where every driver, Grab driver, or street sweeper will tell you, hindi po, ito po Chinatown po ito. Hindi po ito Pilipinas. Ganun ba? So I just want to point that out, Senator. Second, regarding the rentals, it has been brought to my attention that a number of these rentals belong to certain personalities. In fact, one of them was even a current cabinet member was even, I think, falsely accused na ay kanya sumusuportahan kasi umuupa sa kanya yung POGO eh. When you mentioned this came out of the Senate hearings, who substantiated these claims that we earn something, did I hear you correctly, 36 billion total from rentals, shopping, and restaurants? Kasi parang, if I were sitting there, and of course I'm not, no? I would say, okay, show me the data, show me the summary of reports from the Restaurant Association. Okay, who's tabulating all of these rentals? Bakit may reports ba kayo ng ganyan? Kasi I'm sorry, Mr. Senator, no? Kasi ang daming mga PR na naglalakad ngayon eh. There are just so many public relations bodies who are pushing for this agenda, and it seems that they will fabricate anything to get their way.
Well, Sito, you pointed it out quite correctly. No, yesterday also we invited Mr. Leechiu, who is a very popular as well as famous property consultant here in our country, and his estimates in terms of revenue to government and revenue to the private sector is about 200 billion, about 180 billion to about 200 billion in terms of revenue. So his comment yesterday, if we will not allow POGO anymore, we will stand to lose about 180 to 200 billion. When we asked NEDA and we looked at our own figures, that the same component is about 30 to about 70 billion. So there are discrepancies, obviously, no? But that's our job now to
30
decipher.
to 200
so that's
is heaven and earth.
That's our job now to decipher.
There have been suggestions to, and your associate, your fellow senator, Coco Pimentel, lambasted the proposal of certain individuals to just create POGO zones. And this is not the first time it's been offered. It actually existed before. If I'm not mistaken, the first POGO zone that was publicly known was in Covlandia. Covlandia in Cavite, which I know of because it belonged to Johnny Remulla, the late father of our current Secretary of Justice. Covlandia was a site for POGO, and it was touted as a secure facility. Nobody can just go in except for employees. Now, what's your position on this proposal? Because Coco Pimentel called it as merely a diversionary tactic.
Sito, I think we have to step back a little bit, no, and look at the overall POGO industry. And that's what I want to harp on in the next hearing, because POGO as an industry, we have to analyze where this is going. If you compare this to, let's say, the BPO sector, the BPO sector has a future. No? We
Yeah.
started with voice. We're now going into transcriptions or more complex tasks. We're now going into coding or programming. We're now going into designing. So there is a roadmap. No? And the BPO industry has been here in our country for the last probably 15, 20 years. And there's still room to grow the BPO industry. Just imagine BPO industry will probably stay with us for the next maybe 50 years as long as we evolve. Supposed to POGO, where is POGO going? If you look at the sector, the POGO actually derives majority of its income from China. But China said this is illegal. They don't like POGO. Gambling is illegal. So we're actually harboring a business that is illegal in China, but our main customers come from China themselves. No? So that is actually a point of contention. It creates an environment of instability because your main customer is saying that it's illegal in our territory. What if all of a sudden they start arresting POGO employees here, or they start shutting down the way of putting bets to the Philippines? Then it becomes an unstable environment. So my point of the matter there is we have to look at also the entire sector. If this sector is stable, is this sector has a growth potential? Is this sector a sector that we need to take care because it's giving us, it will give us jobs now and it will give us jobs in the future?
Well, you mentioned the key word there, Mr. Senator, jobs. It doesn't really generate jobs for Filipinos. The game players, the people, these employees are Chinese nationals because they need people who can speak Chinese for the customer abroad, number one. Most of their entertainers are not Filipinas, thank God. They are women who are hoodwinked from Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and some of them forced into prostitution or to give sexual favors to some VIPs, etc. And so sabi ko, parang nagkakaalokohan, pwesto lang tayo. We are just a location for people to illegally conduct business for Chinese customers, so which makes us party to a transnational crime in a national scale, official national scale. So I mean, you think, teka, we're putting both our feet in the grave here.
There's actually another question to ask. Now, how come POGO attracts this type of characters? POGO has been here for quite some time already, but it ramped up volume around 2015. And from then on, we see pervasive cases of crimes. No? And the crimes already evolved from kidnapping to what you said, prostitution, to human trafficking. But there seems to me it's so difficult to separate this type of criminal activities to POGO. No? And of course, our police have been trying their best to prevent also this type of criminal activities to come and to penalize those who are involved in that. But it seems to me that it's not denting. It's not doing anything. No, and we still have that. In terms of employment, just to share with you, you're also correct. No. In the hearing, it came out that at best there are about, to date, 40,000 employees in POGO registered. Sito, we don't know the unregistered, of which 20,000 are Filipinos. So only 20,000 Filipinos work in POGOs, as opposed to, let's say, BPO. Right now, BPO, they employ about 1.5 million Filipinos and growing at around 5 to 10%. So you can see the disparity between POGO and BPOs.
As far as the ownership, you will be investigating or hearing the side of the POGO operators. Are these operations registered with the SEC, etc.? Because it has also been brought to my attention that in some cases, those POGO operations look Chinese but are actually Filipino-owned.
The POGO hierarchy, there's a hierarchy. No, you have the licensees. They can be onshore, they can be in the Philippines or offshore. And then you have agents. The agents are supposed to represent these licensees. And you have service providers. No? And there are many types of service providers. Service providers that provide, let's say, marketing, customer service, even the gaming tables. So these service providers are supposed to be local companies. No? They're supposed to be Filipino companies. But these Filipino companies can employ foreign citizens. So we found out yesterday, in fact, it was Senator Joel Villanueva who asked this, that there are some service providers who do not even hire local or Filipinos. Some of them are 100% employed by foreigners. So these are the things we will also look at, because again, no, the whole point of this is to create employment, other than revenues being given to government, but also employment, because employment creates the trickle-down effect. No, you have the drivers, you have other people who you can hire, and it creates employment. But if you are saying that some of the service providers are 100% manned by foreigners, then you don't create anything.
Wouldn't it make sense to just simply realign all intelligence funds from non-law enforcement departments towards the Bureau of Immigration and the PNP and the NBI and the AFP? Because I think that's the second hot topic right now. There's billions of pesos tucked in intelligence funds, while the Bureau of Immigration does not even have a decent building to operate in.
Well, definitely, that's what we're trying to avoid in the POGO industry, Sito, that all of our enforcement agencies will waste so much time in arresting, in investigating, in preventing POGO-related crimes. We have our own problems. We have our own share of problems. In Valenzuela, we have our own share of criminal activities, and we want our law enforcers to focus our own local problems. But if we keep on adding problems from this sector, from this industry, then it will not, paikot-ikot lang tayo, it will not end. No? That's why we're here to look at the economic benefits, the revenue generated, as well as the overall policy for POGO and the overall sector, if it's contributing to our economy and to our country.